Oh, yeah, so we are. Wow. Okay.
It's like you're summoning a flame-wreathed Faceless or using Firelands portals, but instead of a 6-mana minion inside, 7. It's us.
Okay, firstly, Flame Faceless, right?
Yeah.
4 mana.
Right, but there was a wreath of flame around us as the transition happened.
Okay. But
That's what I was going
you would
for.
never get a Flame Faceless out of a
Well,
Firelands
I
portal.
understand, but they both have that same idea. Regardless.
The only thing that's the same about you and a Flaming Faceless is the fact that there's a little bit of overload going on.
Okay, well, let's overload ourselves into the game. Not possible, but nevertheless, what we're going to do. Between China and South Korea. So this will be on the lower part of the bracket. We are nearing the finals. That is right.
Yeah.
Which is lower than first and second.
You're right. And actually, so both these players have banned out a warrior from their opponents. It looks like Ji Fen, which is the name for the Chinese player, just in case you were wondering how to pronounce his name. He has gone for Shaman, for Hunter, and for Warlock. And Urgot will be playing Shaman, Mage, and Druid. The decks we saw him lose to Game King on just earlier today.
Yep, so we've already familiarized ourselves with the decks from the Korean player Urgot. On the other side, Qifeng will be playing a few different decks that we'll have to get used to. Here is the Hunter, and this looks like it is the faciest of the face version Hunters. So a little bit of a throwback to the deck everyone hated to lose to but loved to play.
Yeah, it's the only time I've ever got Legend is playing Face Hunter. So
what a good player.
I know.
Did you also get Legend with, say, Secret Paladin?
No, I never.
Another great legendary deck, but it's actually been a while since I've seen this variety of this deck.
Yeah, you very rarely see Leroy in these sort of decks now. Like, we have been seeing the Secret Hunter come out a little bit, which is quite interesting, but this does just look like a pure Face Hunter deck, which is really surprising to see, actually. We'll take out the Acolyte of Pain, and already what we've seen with Urgot is if he can maintain okay board presence and okay board control, getting up to 6 mana or so, this Mage deck, his Freeze Mage, can actually really start going off.
That is very true. Once again, we get a gigantic card, this time not blocking the deck slot, but we're certainly going to be accompanied here by a little bit extra on the board. In the meantime, that does mean that we get a chance to see exactly what is going on. I believe that was a ping to break the Divine Shield on... Yeah, okay, I'm trying to follow where the mice are going. It's a little bit confusing.
The thing is, I think they might have the same visual bug as we do, because he's hovering over cards like Arcane Intellect, which he obviously can't play this turn because he's already used 2 mana. He's trying to put Acolyte of Pain down, but he can't use that. He also hasn't drawn off the Novice Engineer, so I have to feel perhaps this is a slight in-game issue. And it came up last game as well, the final game that Urgot played. It was because I feel sometimes he plays the card as it's coming out of the deck. So here he drew Novice Engineer and then played it immediately. And it seems to just cause a little bit of an issue for him.
Well, I mean, I feel like this is slightly more than a little bit of an issue. But I appreciate your optimism.
He's been suppressed. Urgot has been suppressed.
That is very true. I'm being depressed, but let's see if we can get back into the game.
Is my casting that bad? I didn't realize.
I was trying to let you down easily. One step at a time. All right, well, currently we're hovering over some cards.
We're stuck, man.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how Tempo Mage, Freeze Mage works into Hunter. I mean, if you can maintain board control over the Hunter, you can actually do a really good job. Urgot is obviously quite distressed there on his camera. Pretty frustrated with how things are going. Let's see if we can spec him again. It might just be that it's frozen from our side of things, but no.
Much like the effects of playing Freeze Mage, the client
itself.
This is like next level Freeze Mage. You freeze so hard that it freezes the client too. That's what you really mean by Freeze Mage.
Should we see if we can spec him again? We've got the thing up.
Let us.
The thing is as well, Urgot will be frustrated if we have to remake this because he's got such a good hand to deal into Face Hunter. You know, he's got double Blizzard, sitting on the Acolyte as well to get some extra card draw. He's got the Doomsayer, he's got Frostbolt. He's in a really strong position to actually deal with any threats that Face Hunter might get out. And actually, now it looks like he's playing Mage into Shaman.
That's an incredibly fascinating statistic to share, Sona. The matchup, yes, currently is Face Hunter, or is no longer Face Hunter.
Yeah.
No longer any Hunters, but is Mage into Shaman. It appears as if this is continuing to be attempted to broadcast. However, the game itself has not only finished, but has started once again.
And because Urgot is playing his Freeze Mage once again, we have to assume he lost, which means that G-Fen was able to take that first game. He's playing mid-range Shaman. Actually, he looks a little bit more early aggro because he's got the Sir Finley Migranton. Mergelton.
Yeah.
And he's got a Tunnel Trog on the board. However, Urgot was able to play his Doomsayer, the Korean player being able to slow down the tempo slightly coming out here from the side of that Shaman, who is actually trying to take this Doomsayer off the face of the board, and we'll be able to do it with the Tunnel Trog into a Lightning Bolt combo.
Yeah, if you guys want to join us in checking this game out, you can in fact close your eyes and listen to the melodious sound of our voices trying to tell you what is going on. So currently, we just had a Forgotten Torch able to take out, I believe that was a Tunnel Trog.
Yeah, 4-3 Tunnel Trog.
Very true, so taking that threat off the board, but a Flame Tongue Totem empowering that Abusive Sergeant and Sir Finley to be very effective. Now, a Totem, now that it is Urgot's turn, has just now been cleared off, and now you can we can reveal that we are super handsome, but also that Hearthstone is going on simultaneously. What's actually very interesting is that people can see us talking, but
we could turn the computer around to allow them to watch the game.
We could just turn our view right to the camera. That's that high class production, more like high school production.
So the second Flame Tongue Totem has come out here from Yifeng. Will get taken down with another Forgotten Torch. So
certainly will.
Able to clear those out, and a little bit of board control actually coming out here on the side of Urgot. Has his Loot Hoarder down. Another Argent Hornsrider. So really early aggressive decks coming out from Yifeng, which is not something we commonly see in this current meta. It's more mid-range focused, but Face Hunter into what seems to be more of a Face Shaman deck than anything else.
Right. Well, the game itself, not something we commonly see, but now that we can, it's back up there for everybody, and you can check this out. It does appear as if we might be winding down towards where these ice blocks start to come into play, at least Urgot preparing for dropping down very, very low. Great thing about playing up against the Face Hunter with this deck is that you always have the damage to pop the ice block at the end. You're never searching for it. But now, an Eater of Secrets. Tell me what that card does, Sona.
It's a beautiful card. So it actually destroys enemy secrets and gets +1/+1 for each secret it destroys. And playing that into a Freeze Mage, like we've always learned that these guys are, in this current tournament, they're allowed to change their decks between matches, not between games, so between the whole match. And because G-Fen has seen Urgot play this deck before, he knows he can chuck that Eater of Secrets in.
But that's the wrong time to play it. You play it when you have lethal and can kill the guy by taking his ice block. If you play it now, sure, you get the ice block, but he doesn't kill himself by thinking he can survive.
Right, yes, you're totally right. G-Feng did say that was a mistake when he played it. But
yeah, he did. Still, nonetheless, super cool. It's like when you play into like a Murloc deck and you've got the Hungry Crab, you're just like, I am so good.
He had lethal. He had Rock Fighter in hand. G-Fen, what are you doing?
Well, it's a 2-mana Rock Fighter.
Yeah, but he had
I know. Oh, the struggle, man.
I need a buzzer for every time someone misses lethal. Like, lethal miss, and now he gets frozen. Oh, he can still kill it because he's got Rock Fighter, so he can just use it. And he's got Argent Hornsrider as well.
What a time to be alive, or dead, as the case may be for Urgot. He will drop this second game once again. Freeze Mage failing him in these games.
So the only deck that G-Feng has left is his Warlock deck. And I have to assume it's Aggro Lock. I have to assume it's going to be playing into those Doom Guards. Maybe Malcazar's Imps for a bit of discards like we saw earlier. But
right. And we've been seeing like very aggressive decks from him. Yeah. So he's got the Face Hunter, and then he's got the Face Shaman. Now he's got the, well, I don't know if there are any other. I guess you could be going Face. I don't think that's really a thing. But
it's just Zoolock, isn't it, where you're aiming for face?
Well, that is in fact the strategy. So.
Face Lock, boys.
Yeah, if you like faces, you love looking at us and those Hearthstone strategies, because they involve a lot of face as well.
That's true. That's true.
If
this is, of course, the third, fourth place.
I would have made a joke about that, but he's actually just way better looking than I am, so I really shouldn't.
That's untrue. That is untrue. Anyway, Urgot, we have seen him go 2-0 behind before. Did it against Game King earlier on, the Austrian player. Here has the opportunity to get himself back into it, but Against a Warlock who is probably going to be playing aggro, that Freeze Mage takes a long time to ramp up. We've seen Urgot make mistakes around Blizzard before. He needs to really control this board early on.
That is true, but it's definitely not something that Freeze Mage is very well known for. I mean, if you want to use your Ice Blasts early on, then sure, you can take care of that. Just trying desperately to get up to those Blizzard turns to try to really clear out the board. But I feel like this is an older strategy that players are very well used to playing against, and especially we saw decks like that N'Zoth Paladin just completely destroy it. It's just like you run up against matchups that you just lose, either because they have enough healing to come back from Alexstrasza, or if they just have some way to eat your secrets, much like that last game. Did not expect that. That's the first time I've ever seen Eater of Secrets played competitively. It's a cool idea, but it's definitely not something that you see all the time.
It's the reason you, if you're running Arena, you always get a Kendra Misfit in your deck, just in case.
Kazan, right.
Yeah, just in case the enemy has a secret that you can just steal away. But I do think we're really going to struggle Urgot here because he's not very good at controlling the early aggro. The one time we saw him win with this Freeze Mage deck into aggro was where he was willing to use his Ice Lances early on, just to take out minions, and he needs to be willing to do that here. Like, his combo pieces are important, yes, but you need to be able to win without the combo for you to really be a tier 1 deck.
Absolutely. Not only just without the combo, you need to be flexible enough to be able to deal with decks that have both strong early game, strong late game. Ideally, you want to bring a deck lineup that would be able to, would maybe not be able to deal with every consequence in the first deck, but at least have options that later on would be flexible enough to handle that. So, Freeze Mage doesn't look like it's quite got what it needs to in order to carry Urgot on to be the victor of this third, fourth place match. We've seen him come back from being 0-2 down before, but he will need to do that now again. So, still pretty difficult of a question to have. Very
tough question to ask. And of course, after this, we have the League of Legends quarterfinals coming up next, and then after that, the semi-finals to round out the day. All of the finals are played from tomorrow, starting at 11 o'clock UTC +7.
+7, that is in fact correct. So, if you are living under the couch, which is what UTC stands for, and somehow have...
Under the couch. Universal Time Clock, maybe?
I mean, that's also something it could possibly stand for. I don't know, really. It's really up to interpretation, much like Hearthstone. All right, we're going to recover from that while we hopefully get into our last game. You know what I was thinking right now is that actually while that screen was frozen, we played not one, but 2 games. And got into the third game to finish our best of 5 before we
That would have been incredibly quick, and neither of the players have left the booths either, so I'd assume hopefully
those are pretty cool booths, man. I'd chill out up there. I mean, this is not like, it's not like it's every day for me that I get to go inside all of those booths. So I actually had a chance to go up and check them out a little bit earlier, and I would stay inside them a little bit longer too.
How long would you stay inside a booth if you had to?
At least longer than the flight of an unladen pigeon.
An unladen pigeon?
That's true, man. You laden those guys up, and it's not as long anymore.
Nowhere near as long. How far can an unladen pigeon fly?
That's a pretty good question.
Depends what type of pigeon, I guess.
That is very true. You'd have to figure that out.
A baby pigeon or an adult pigeon or
African pigeon?
I don't think you have African pigeons. I've got to say, I feel you've gone wrong.
I feel like I've gotten wrong many places. My parents right now also feeling wrong, like they went wrong somewhere along the line, or incredibly right, depending on your perspective. Everybody out there.
You need a kaleidoscope to think it's incredibly right. You have to have a very odd perspective on life. We are just waiting on these guys to get into the final game. It's China versus Korea in the third, fourth place playoff here in Hearthstone.
It certainly is.
Urgot needs a kaleidoscope to see how he's going to get back into this game, because at the moment he's struggling a huge amount with this Freeze Mage deck. It's just not comboing off, not working out for him at all.
No, it certainly is not. Much the same way that he evolved in game number 1, or at least in the previous game that he played versus the Austrian player Game King. Who was able to beat him in the last televised match. And by the way, now that I say that this is televised, it is actually televised. I believe it's being broadcast in 4 different languages. There's English, Spanish, Chinese, and here in Indonesia on live TV. So actually pretty cool to see
very cool.
eSports getting out there, very well publicized, and of course a lot of media here at the event. And if you are in Jakarta, Indonesia, you too can come down to this event and check it out.
Yeah. Do you think they just dub over our faces when they use the other languages? Or do you think
I mean, that's what I've done when I've
Yeah.
cast international tournaments in a different language. I just get to pretend like I'm one of the casters, unless it's a tri-cast, and then you get to pretend like you're like the combination. There you go. And we're
Je
at...
m'appelle Errol. Ça va bien, merci.
Oh my goodness, this guy's way too talented.
Yeah, I can say like 3 lines of French.
Oh my.
Too many lines, man. Too many lines. Oh, we're just gonna get a bit of information from one of our admins here to find out exactly what is going on. But while that happens, I'm going to talk to you guys about how great this weekend's been. We're here at IeSF, the 8th eSports World Championship in Jakarta. It's 2016, of course. The reigning champions, the Korean team, who are in the 3rd, 4th place matchup here. Ergot trying to get it himself and his country some points, get some national pride going on. Korea still in the League of Legends tournament as well, and I believe they're still in the CSGO.
They certainly are, yes. Very strong teams fielded in all of the games here tonight. I do have a little bit of an update, which is actually just reaffirming the state that the game is currently in. The admins took a little bit of time in between games 2 and 3 to verify the state of the first game that we were unable to see completed. After that, they concluded that, yes, the game did conclude between the 2 players, and that in the end it was a Chinese victory.
Yeah,
so
as we assumed.
Right, we did assume that that's what happened. So the current score stands at 2-0 in China's favor. So that does mean that we are 1 game away potentially from seeing the end of this series, unless Ergot, the Korean representative, is able to come back just like he did in his series.
Well, it's great at reversing those positions in these matchups, isn't he?
He certainly is. Certainly is. I just had to savor all the goodness that was there for a second. But we should have the 3rd game up and running here any moment now that all the admins have finished adminning or whatever they do.
Adminning like
that's
spiders.
How they do it.
That's piano admin.
Well, I was like trying to go for like the typing, but you actually like type differently, and this is like more like the spider movement.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm like weaving. I don't know what you do with your fingers like that.
I think piano playing is probably the closest.
But then you're like trying to. We actually just look like we're a little. I don't know.
Dinosaur. We're imitating dinosaurs. Is what you were going for there.
Big head and little arms.
Everyone feared the dinosaur.
This
anyway,
this is why we're professionals, guys.
Exactly. Well, we're just waiting on this Hearthstone game to get back into it. You know, it's very easy to talk about dinosaurs and how we can imitate T-Rexes, but it's very difficult to talk about Hearthstone when there's nothing really going on. I mean, the current meta's switched up a little bit because of the new patch.
It certainly has.
Early aggro Shaman not quite as commonly seen these days. However, we did see a really strong aggro Shaman coming out from Jifeng in this game already. So not going on Tuskar lines, but going more down that just pure aggression with Abusive Sergeant and with the Argent Horse Rider.
Yep, tons of damage there. Also don't see aggro Hunter anymore. It's usually more of the mid-range variety there. I've even seen like super late game varieties, like more like a N'Zoth kind of. Not something we'll be seeing here.
N'Zoth Hunter.
There we go. All right, I almost forgot. Let's go ahead and get into what could be our last game here. China rampaging through the first 2 games. And it looks like we will be going with a...
Warlock.
Well, Warlock for China. I was trying to think about which deck
the mage
coming out. Yeah.
Oh,
no, it is actually
going
to go Shaman. Okay, like I was just like you. I thought he was going to continue with the mage just like he did in the last series. Last time around, staying with the mage actually did help him come back in the series after kind of digging him into a little bit of a hole. Now, we get a chance to see what looks to be a very aggressive Shaman here coming out from Ergot, whereas Jifeng will be going for what I can only assume is going to be this discard-related Warlock now that he's able to play Malcazar's Imp down on the field.
Does have power overwhelming in hand as well, so can try and clear out any threats coming out from the side of Ergot. However, already we'll see Ergot hitting himself into that Possessed Villager. I'm slightly surprised that he coined out the Possessed Villager in Malcazar's Imp rather than going straight towards the Dark Peddler. I guess, you know, you play Dark Peddler this turn, grab another Malcazar's Imp. Actually going for the Mortal Coil, just so he can get rid of any serious totems that come out from the side. Also, Argent Horse Rider falls to that Mortal Coil, so getting a little bit more remover for himself rather than going towards that discard draw mechanic that we see with the Malcazar's Imp.
That's very true. You don't want to, just use that to draw too much early on because sometimes when discarding things, cards are actually cards that you want to keep in your hand. So not quite as easy a decision, just like the decision to roll that hero power. Guess the spell power totem is able to empower his Spirit Claws. Of course, a little bit of a risk, but well worth it.
So Councilman here, I mean, Hex is the perfect answer, doesn't have it in hand at the moment. Urgot has been okay with those top decks. We saw him top decking a Van Cleef to almost get himself in the game, but at the moment, you really want to get rid of that Councilman as soon as possible. Your options are Argent Horse Rider into Lightning Bolt, or you can just put down that Feral Spirit and try and just protect yourself up for a turn, and then use Lightning Storm next turn to try and clear the entire board off.
So I think the play is going to be the Argent Horse Rider into that Lightning Bolt, like you said, and then use the Spirit Claws potentially to just clear the 1/1 off the board.
He doesn't have a Spirit. Oh, he does have a Spirit Claw. Sorry, I forgot to check his actual hand. But getting that is actually really powerful for him because he can now take that Darkshire Councilman down without having to actually run the Argent Horse Rider in. So Lightning Bolt to the face, Lightning Bolt to the Darkshire Councilman alongside that Spirit Claws will clear it out, which means he doesn't need to be too worried about that scaling up into the later portion of this game.
Certainly does not. Darkshire Councilman, you want to be able to drop that early, much like a Thunderbluff Valiant, and then combo it next turn. Not always a luxury you are afforded.
So he decides not to take it down just quite yet. He has got Lightning Storm. So maybe by doing this, he's hoping actually that Jifeng floods the board a little bit more, and then could just Lightning Storm. But Jifeng must realize that. You've got to right. Assume that the enemy has some way of dealing with that.
Certainly not a mystery, and so you can see Jifeng going for the opportunity to keep his board alive, either just a little bit more by
Young Priestess is actually a really interesting addition. It's not something we commonly see. This will be Lightning Storm to clear the board, you have to assume. I'm just going to Lightning Bolt the Darkshire Councilman instead.
Right, while that is a lot of value to come from the Lightning Storm, if it was able to clear everything, that Young Priestess actually did exactly what it was supposed to do and buffed it up potentially out of Lightning Storm range. So instead, this is actually going to turn into something that's actually huge for Jifeng, be able to easily clear up his opponent's side of the board and keep his alive.
And has the Tomb Guard in hand along with that Silverware Golem, so always the opportunity to discard into that. He's tempted here to see if he can get a little bit of a value trade out of this. He can hit the face, but now he's actually going to Hero Power instead, deciding not to play cards from hand, going for that Hero Power, drawing himself another Young Priestess. Really not a card we've seen that much in the current meta, but Lightning Storm, well, double Lightning Storm is in the hand here for Urgot. He'll be able to clear that out, but there's good ability for Jifeng to reset the board.
So this is kind of interesting to see double Lightning Storm in what is, a shaman that should be looking to hit the face quite a bit. The interesting thing about that is that traditionally you're going to be shoving things into the face all the time anyway, and you're not too concerned about just like wiping the board like that. Now this time around you're going to see a double discard that was in fact a mistake.
Unfortunate there.
And did not discard anything from the hand that would have been useful. So unlucky there, but that does still represent a lot of damage on the board that will need to be handled by seeing those Spirit Wolves come out.
Yeah, and he still hasn't got a Hex in hand, so he's going to really struggle to deal with this Doom Guard. He can delay it for a couple of turns, as you say. I think you have to take Mortal Coil there. The rest of it, Corruption is all right, I guess. It's kind of like the only thing you've got left, but hits this with the Mortal Coil, will draw out of it. Crazed Alchemist will be able to swap that attack and health, meaning that it dies off. It comes out as well. Flame Imp there, Silverware Golem still in hand. Good position at the moment for Jifeng to win this out 3-0.
And I really love seeing all of these interesting cards that you don't get a chance to see. Crazed Alchemist used to be pretty popular as a tech, now we're seeing it again. Either sequencers earlier, super cool to see. And a nice board clear from the second Lightning Storm. Went out allowing, or got another cleared board to continue to look for additional strength.
It actually looks like Urgot has the better hand here, so you can always Thunder Bluff into Fire Elemental, or use Fire Elemental first to clear out that Silverware Golem, and now just chuck down a thing from below. He's got a much better board state, and Jifeng needs to start drawing some answers, but Because he's in an early aggro deck, you know, we've seen him playing Doom Guards, he's drawn a Silverware Golem out of that as well. He's not in a good position to actually come back into this game.
Right, anytime you have enough mana left over to play the Silverware Golem, it's not really doing its thing. And at this point, exactly like you said, this is an incredible spot for Urgot to be in. Not only will he be able to totem up to continue to increase his presence on the board, but there's nothing in Xifeng's hands, so he's really unable to make this happen.
That's his game. He's got no way of stopping any of this damage coming through. He'll have to surrender it out. Urgot actually managing to win with his Shaman deck. Still has that mage in his back pocket that really needs to be able to do something.
He does.
And I'm not sure how effective that's going to be in towards this Warlock, because you have to clear that early game. The Shaman able to do it, but I don't know actually if Mage is going to be able to match up to it as well as that Shaman was.
Well, absolutely, and really, the Shaman hit a lot of just perfect situations.
Yeah.
Had exact damage to deal with early threats like the Darkshire Councilman. Had double Lightning Storm against a zoo variety of the deck, so able to completely clear the board off over and over again. And really, Xifeng really unable to set up the board presence that he needed to get that discard mechanic going. He hit like a double discard on the cards he didn't want from that Doom Guard. So, using up all of his unluck there in game number 3, which will take us to a game 4, which is still match point. China could still come out on top and claim that 3rd place spot.
I think the problem always is going to be for Urgot from Korea that he's got 2 later game decks playing into quite an early game Warlock coming out here from Xifeng. You know, you've got Mage, which is all about that late game combo. You've got Druid, which is all about that. It's Malagos Druid. It's what we assume he's going to be playing. Right. Which is all about that late game combo as well. It worked okay when he was playing up against into Game King, because Game King was playing more mid-range sort of decks, whereas now Xifeng is playing really, really early aggression.
Right. A different style of deck lists, or of class choices rather, to be seen here tonight. Even deck lists as well. Wouldn't have expected to see quite that hardcore of a Face Hunter from game 1. That game was over so fast.
So fast we didn't even see it.
We didn't even see it. That's how fast it was. The game was like Flash, which makes us basically like superheroes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Essentially. If you guys want to check out all of the results, all of the brackets, the matches, any updates from this IeSF 8th World Championship 2016 here in Jakarta, Indonesia, you can go over to IE-SF.org. That's IE-SF.org. And everything pops up pretty automatically. You'll see the stream, you'll see all the results off to the side. There's also news articles, further information about the teams, the players, and everything here at this event at IE-SF.org. You can also watch us live on IESF_TV on Twitch, or of course on any of our multiple broadcast partners in those languages we talked about earlier. So it's really impressive, incredible to see so much international presence here at what is an incredibly international tournament, nigh the most international video game tournament in the world.
The most international.
Trying to think about that. We do have, I think, upwards of 30 member nations here.
Yeah, I think that's 36, I want to say.
I thought it was between 35 and 37, which is exactly where 36 lies. Well, I'm covering my bases there.
Well placed. We are just waiting on these guys to get into the next game as well. After this, we'll have the League of Legends quarterfinals, cast by you and Spoddington.
That's very true.
Then after that, the League of Legends semi-finals, I believe, cast by you and I, or me and Spud, or
also very true.
We'll have to wait and see. Maybe we'll kick you off. Maybe we'll get rid of you from the desk.
We're going to do some coin flips. We're going to draw the short, pokey straw.
Just try cast it, but one of us does not have a microphone.
That's true.
I vote for you not having a
Well, if I
microphone.
stand in the middle, I think people are going to be staring at like my belt the whole time. It's going to be like not positioned quite. I could always just like sit down on the floor. Also not going to work. Let's go ahead and get into our possibly last game here, as Xifeng has been incredibly dominant up until the last-second comeback there by South Korea's Urgot. His Freeze Mage has not really been serving him very well, but with a victory there on that Shaman, he continues to stay alive and try to bring this back.
Yeah, I expect him to go back towards that Freeze Mage, in all honesty. I think you it actually says China winner there.
I mean, you have to be pretty good at Hearthstone in order to win
To have won without playing,
a best of five
in 3 games. Yeah.
Well, I guess
they played 2
so here's the
games
thing,
as
like
well.
you play 2 games and you win them both, and then somehow you're the winner when you lose the game after that to your opponent. Now, I mean, I don't have that. I don't have these Hearthstone skills, but I definitely don't have that one. So
it could be like chess where it's time limited, and you just play as much as you can in the time allotted.
So you win the game, but you don't win it fast enough, so you lose.
Oh no, but you win. So you have a best of 5, and it has to be done within, say, an hour.
Okay, so the time
and you
just
only manage
finishes.
to get 3 games.
That means you play lots of Control Warrior.
Yeah, just one. That's one Control
That's
Warrior
a half a
mirror
game,
match,
man.
isn't it? Yeah, it's fine.
I have spent much of my life waiting for my opponent to armor up again, get to that 60, 70 armor.
Tank up, boys. Tank up.
What a great skill.
It's amazing.
Super happy about that.
People hitting 100 effective health because they've got 70 armor.
The Justicar upgraded version of like the Hunter hero power did 4 damage instead of 3?
I don't understand why it doesn't.
Well, it's because offense is like valued differently than defense. But
should do more.
I want to see that Face Hunter come back. Maybe that's the way that the first Face Hunter won the game.
Justicar True Heart as a winning
pretty good card, man.
It is a pretty good card if you're playing Warrior. Otherwise, it's not really that good.
You get like a Dark Bomb every time you hit that hero power. But it only goes to face. Unless you have a Steam Weedle Sniper on the board.
That's true. I actually, when I was playing Hunter a lot, I thought that would be a really good card.
I too thought it would be a very good card.
Well, Hunter's just meh anyway.
Well, I mean, you feel pretty cool when you play it. You like put it down, and then you snipe your other
haha, I am the mage now.
Yeah, and then you're just like, oh, well, that's not really like my win condition.
No. I didn't go face. I can't win as this Hunter.
The general rule. Well, we did see a Hunter go face and win, so I guess that holds true for now. But for now, we are still waiting to get into what could be our final game of the night between Qifeng, the Chinese representative, here facing off against Urgot. And we'll see those decks up there on the screen. China no longer the 2 out of 5 winner. We're going to be seeing game number 4 come up here once again versus the Warlock. We just got a chance to see fielded from Qifeng from China versus what is either going to be Freeze Mage or a variety of Druid. We can only surmise is going to be that Malagos.
Yeah, I think we have to assume it's going to be the Malagos. You could switch up to Token Druid if you knew that your enemy was going to play a lot of aggro, because Token Druid's a little bit more powerful into aggro.
Then you force
trade a bit better.
Savage Roar, try to kill the guy, but they're not charged minions anymore, and realize you should have played Malagos Druid. But here we go, we're returning into the Freeze Mage here. Urgot having to win with it eventually.
I really hope he's put a little bit more early game in this, because well, actually he hasn't, because we've already seen him lose with it twice, and he can't change it obviously in the middle of a game. So.
In the middle of a game, I just like, I really wish I had put these cards in my deck. Let me just throw them in this.
Jump in my collection.
That's what you call sideboarding, man.
That is what you call sideboarding. That would be great, 15 extra cards to choose from.
You just like reach over, grab a few. It's like,
just dust a few cards, switch them up.
Dust them off, man.
So it's actually a really strong early game here for Urgot. He's got double Acolyte of Pain in hand. He's got Loot Hoarder as well. It is really aggro. You've got Knife Juggler and Dark Peddler coming out from Yifeng, so we'll be able to trade pretty effectively. But I think you coin, well, you don't actually need to coin. You just pass it, and then next turn maybe even look at coining out an Acolyte of Pain, because you know those Knife Juggler blocks are going to hit onto it.
Certainly do. There's a Frost Bolt draw, but probably unwilling to just use that to clear off the Knife Juggler. Instead, going to try to use the Knife Juggler against Qifeng himself to help him draw a few more extra cards. Gonna risk it, and we'll be able to clear it.
3 cards, boys, 3 cards. And now he's got Frostbolt into Ice Lance as well to kill off that Dark Show Cancelman if that's how he wants to get rid of it. Does need to be a little bit careful, of course. Could just Doomsayer, drawing that off the top helps him out a huge amount. Question is, with cards in hand,
right?
What's he got? He's got Dark Peddler. He's got power. Is that Power Overwhelming as well? It looks like up towards the top side, so he can actually clear away that Doomsayer. But I think if you're Urgot, he's going for the Acolyte instead, just going for that draw. I feel this is a little bit of a risk. The last time we saw Urgot lose out to these early aggro decks is because he didn't clear the board quickly enough.
Right, and we've seen him do this, or commit to this play style a lot, where you just sacrifice your entire early game for nothing but setup.
Oh, those Knife Juggler blocks are so unlucky as well.
Man, Yeah, really unfortunate that he's not able to clear that off that way. Now, there are still ways that you can get around this. Most likely, yeah, we're just going to see the Darkshire Councilman traded in there. That evolved Kobold a little bit ahead of schedule, but if this is the one game where Urgot draws that Emperor Thorsten earlier, it's really going to help him out.
Did, of course, mulligan that early on. We'll be able to clear out that Darkshire Councilman, or at least boss it up for now. And maybe actually, there's a temptation to probably Loot Hoarder. There's also a temptation either to clear the Knife Juggler or even the Young Priestess, just to make sure that Darkshire Councilman doesn't start working its way away. He has got a second Frostbolt to take it out, but it would be nicer perhaps to look into drawing a Blizzard and being able to take it out that way.
Yeah, if I'm a Warlock and I draw both, or if I draw out both Frostbolts against just one Darkshire Councilman, I mean, we take those. Yeah. So it's a good place.
And you kill the Necklace of Pain with it as well. So
that's true. Good to note there. The board's still big for Qifeng, so it hasn't been cleared out just yet. Here comes that Darkshire Librarian. Does discard that Power Overwhelming, so potentially a game-ending card now no longer available. A big, big board.
Yeah, I don't think he really needs the Power Overwhelming to end the game. 16 health left on the side of Urgot. Has to use the Boss Nova just to try and slow this down a bit. Pops Doomsayer down, and will actually be able to clear out that board. There is a Doomguard in hand, and you'll get a draw off that Darkshire Librarian as well. 1-1 on the board, and it's Malchezaar's Imp, so that into Doomguard's pretty powerful.
There's that Emperor, but at this point, that's a pretty dangerous Emperor to play. You might be running up against a lot of charge from the hand. I mean, we already saw that Power Overwhelming discarded, and I think that's what makes Urgot a little bit bolder with throwing that down.
I think as well, you know that if he's running Doomguard, it's going to discard 2 cards from hand anyway. So at most, he'd be able to play a Doomguard 1 Power Overwhelming, or 1 extra bit of damage alongside it. We'll draw 2 cards off this Malchezaar's Imp, can run the Doomguard into Thaurissan to make sure it doesn't get anything more off, and just eke away at this health total from Urgot. Should actually... Urgot's still in an okay position here if he can get rid of that Doomguard. He's going to Arcane Intellect, looking for the Blizzard, which he draws, but doesn't quite have the mana to play it yet, so we'll Ice Block up and probably pop that Loot Hoarder down just for a bit of extra draw as well.
And we are starting to get towards some pretty scary damage totals in hand. Urgot,
you're going to work it out. Do the maths. Do the maths.
All right. Let's see if we got this. We've got, let's see, 3. So it's going to be 3 for the Evolved Kobold. And then after that, he's going to have 8, so 5 more damage. Out of everything else, he's going to be forced to spend 2 more. So yeah, this is actually so scary. One more turn to set up, and I don't know if there's enough health in the world for Qifeng to survive.
I love the way you didn't actually do the math there.
You are not supposed to mention that. This is... I was trying to be sneaky.
He's got 5 off Frostbolt, so play Kobold, 5 off Frostbolt. He's got another 6 off Ice Lance, that's 11. Another 6 off the second Ice Lance, making it 17, sorry. And then Fireball will do 8 damage to round him out at
25.
25 exactly.
Oh my goodness.
I think it actually might be 24. I think you've done the maths wrong. But,
okay, well, even if he's this is not Reno.
Oh no, it's 25 exactly. So he wins next turn.
Exactly. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad that
you didn't do the math though. I'm pretty sure this is lethal.
Well, so definitely lethal.
Cobalt is 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, Frostbolt is...
calculated it. Here he goes, yeah. We're about to see how cool this combo is.
This is exactly what the combo is meant to do as well.
Exactly. You're going to see Fireball, Frostbolt, Ice Lance into a ton of damage.
Yeah, in boys. Enough damage by 3. Exactly, so they're coming out for... Urgot gets himself back to 2-2.
If it's 3 over, it's not exact lethal.
Exactly.
It would have been
he needed
to
win the game.
Played the flame.
You want to know what exact lethal is?
What is
exactly enough to win you the game? And did he win? Yes, it did. Yes, he did, Reed.
It certainly is.
It's exactly enough damage to win the game.
That's what it is, guys. You heard it here first. Or probably not first, but we're going to pretend like it is because it's the first time this tournament. That's what first means.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, that's going to be the second game in a row that has led us to, or the second game in the second series in a row where Urgot has managed to come back from an 0-2 deficit.
Got there in the end.
Got it.
Yeah. He's almost pulling off the C9. Wasn't able to do it against the Austrian Game King in the last game. But as you can tell from the music building, this is pretty flipping hype, boys.
It certainly is. You can only imagine how hype it is if you are here. The Ancol Auditorium in Jakarta, Indonesia, which is where not only us, we're not sitting in a room by ourselves, we've got tons and tons of people here in this building, literal tons of people in this building, watching these amazing esports. They can't hear us, but you can, so I would encourage you to tell your friends the IeSF World Championship is live. It's happening not only today, but all the grand finals happening tomorrow. The culmination of many online qualifiers, many national qualifiers, bringing over 30 nations here to each other.
And we've got a big announcement to make as well. Guys, if you are watching, you can download the 8 eSports World Championship official app on your phone. It's the Keck TV app. Keck.tv is a social esports application that delivers various esports videos. And not only does it have alarm features that let you know when matches are being played and when streams are going live, there's also a special event going on that allows users to post their predictions for the ongoing matches. Now, the question is, do you predict that Urgot to come back into this? Will he go 3-2 up, or will he fall and burn like he did in the last game? It's gonna be Warlock into Druid, so it's Malagos Druid being cracked out, which
is true.
It does have some clear into that Warlock deck.
That's very true. And if I did predict Urgot to win his game against Shifeng from China, then I would be eligible to win a fabulous prize from the back of the venue by the Keck TV booth. So this is for everybody who is here in the audience. You can't actually tell what we're talking about.
I did wonder you
in the
if you're
back.
watching the stream while you're in the audience, make some predictions and you can go and win some stuff.
Hey, maybe somebody's got like their phone down here and earbuds into the phone, which is also delayed because they're just that committed. They want to give us the viewer in the audience and the viewer on the stream. That's a pretty committed fan right there. We've got lots of committed fans and lots of big fans as we stare directly across from us to gaze upon all the air conditioning units. Probably quite a few in there.
And the casters practicing on the other side as well, just warming up. You have to evaluate them later. Do you watch the VODs?
I certainly do. That's going to be the plan.
Are you going to watch it more for tips as to how to cast Hearthstone than for anything else?
We all have things
we
to
all
learn.
can learn from each other, can't we?
Well,
like
almost
you can learn
all.
maths.
I'm not really learning a whole lot.
Well, maths,
right now.
apparently.
Well, yeah, I spent quite a bit of my life trying to learn about that, and that didn't go so well. So now we're here. We have the Hearthstone with or without maths. We're going to figure it out, just like we figured out last game.
Yeah, we did. Worked out that he had lethal.
Exactly.
That's always the thing with these combo decks. They sort of come out of nowhere. Like, you never know what your opponent has in hand. You have to assume that they're going to have their combo pieces in hand, or they have enough.
There's no way he has this perfectly discounted, perfect mana curve combo that will kill me from exact health.
It was 3 over, so that's not actually exact.
Well, it's only 3 over because he played the Flame Imp.
Yeah, so that's true.
Otherwise,
I think you'll find it's not actually exact if you have more damage than you need. I wouldn't know who would tell you that sort of thing. That's just foolish, Reed.
What an idiot.
Yeah. Just a Dummkopf.
It's the only German word I know, man.
Sorry, man.
Well, I actually know a few more, but we're going to move on to talk
Schnell? If you get
Hey, there you go. I know Schnitzel. That's a German word.
Big fan of Schnitzel.
Super big fan of Schnitzel.
Some people don't like it. You know what I really do like, actually? Currywurst.
Did you eat curry perhaps in India?
I used to have curry in India, yes, a lot.
Really?
Because in case you didn't know, I grew up in India.
Live in India?
I lived in India.
How long did you live in
for
India?
8 years.
8 entire years, guys.
We didn't have good internet though, which is a bit frustrating. I never actually really got into gaming.
Good curry.
Yeah, good curry.
Well, is that really a trade-off? I don't know.
I don't think it is.
Must have.
I think I have
good curry.
There's much more spice in a good Hearthstone game than there is in a good curry.
I don't know, man. I've had some pretty good curry. Also some pretty spicy curry that I would never wish on anyone who, like me, is not really able to function after imbibing super spicy food. Which is how you can tell we're super off track.
Can you imbibe
for our
food?
last game.
I thought imbibing was purely a drink.
Well, I mean, what if you blend your food?
Well, yeah, you could have it like a Soylent smoothie, couldn't you? A Soylent curry smoothie.
Does that count?
Yeah, exactly. That's the pace I'm making as well. I'm gonna have a look at the exact definition of imbibe while we wait for this next half-time game to start.
We're also just gonna start playing Hangman.
It's actually just drink.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. My vocabulary fails me once again.
So, after this, we have League of Legends quarterfinals. Then we have
true.
League of Legends semifinals tomorrow at 11 o'clock UTC +7. So at the moment it is 3:12 p.m. here. Work out what time it is where you are to work out what time you need to be around at 11 a.m. our time.
Or just work out. It's a great opportunity to do that as well. You do one push-up for every card discarded. Every time a minion dies,
do a push-up. Reed is actually going to do that this game for you guys. It's going to say.
I would actually never do that. I've actually never done a single push-up.
Have you never done a push-up?
I've actually done tons of push-ups.
Oh, yeah, sure you have.
I just went on the internet and told a lie.
Dun, dun, dun.
No one would ever do
yes,
that.
But tomorrow, Hearthstone finals start at 11 o'clock. And then the CSGO finals start at around 2, with the League of Legends finals being after that. Both of those are best of 3, Hearthstone finals are best of 5, as you might expect. And it looks like we might be getting into the game. We've seen a lot of Warrior bans this weekend. I think it makes a lot of sense.
It's not? Whoa, there we go.
Hello.
And now we're live.
Doing, Rapid?
Super great. We were just talking about you guys during the break, so we couldn't let you guys in on that conversation. But
sometimes
now we're back.
You just gotta flim-flam the wim-wham sometimes, you know.
I too enjoy flim-flamming my my wim-wham from time to time, but you know, different situations make it easier to flim the flam.
Yeah. How much would it cost for a flim-flam wim-wham, do you think? Like 25 schmeckles? Something along those lines?
That's a pretty cheap one at that, guys. This guy's getting some bonuses out there.
Looks like we are going to get into game. It's Korea versus China. It's Jifeng versus Urgot. And it's Malgus Druid versus Face Lock.
Yeah. Okay, well, we will have to see how effective this is.
What was that?
Whoa, that sounds like the triple how. Holy. All right, we are getting into this game with a vengeance. Urgot once again able to bring himself back from the brink of destruction, tying up this series at 2-2. Of course, this is the 3rd and 4th place match here at the 8th eSports World Championship for Hearthstone in Jakarta, Indonesia. Raven Idol now played once again very early on. Might just perpetuate itself and draw yet another Raven Idol.
So the way Urgot played this last time, he decided to go for Power of the Wild, which I think makes a lot of sense in this because you've got a Void Walker out. So
gives you a 2-drop as well.
Yeah, gets you a 2-drop, means you can take it out. So I think going Power of the Wild makes the most sense. Raven Idol does give you that option, obviously later game, to have an answer to something. Force of Nature as well gives you a little bit of a threat later on, but when you're playing Malgus Druid, you don't really need the Force of Nature to form your threat. Just take Power of the Wild, get rid of that Void Walker, trade effectively, and instead he goes for the Raven Idol.
He does indeed, and that means that with the Raven Idol coming back into his hand again, he'll have more spells cast overall, so that the Yogg Saron that he doesn't have in his deck won't do
He
it.
might have a Yogg.
That's very true.
Seen the fact if he has a Yogg or not. Some people do play this with a Yogg. Double Arcane Giant as well. Obviously, usually something that you play. He's going towards the Azure Drake. Innovates coins into that. That will be able to deal with the Void Walker and draws a swipe off it alongside that Wrath. So has a lot of opportunities to clear out any zoo board coming out from Yifeng, who really hasn't had the best of opening hands here. Taking him a long time to scale up.
Right, that is definitely very true. For Urgot, might just opt to clear with the Azure Drake. Also has the opportunity. Also has that very interesting wreath around his hero.
That's the Discover wreath, isn't it?
Certainly
so
is.
Hopefully it goes away. With this
well, it's also like there's lots of it's the Choose wreath.
Yeah.
The Discover wreath, slightly a different wreath.
So you can either go Swipe here or Mark of Nature. I mean, Starfire gives you a bit of endgame, but you don't usually take it in this sort of matchup. I think Swipe's probably the best. Clear out the board. 4 damage onto any one minion will clear out anything that Yifeng lays apart from the Darkshade Councilman. So perhaps getting Starfire to take that out specifically is okay, but in my opinion, Swipe is probably best, even though you've already got one in hand.
I mean, Mark of Nature, the argument for that would be that it keeps your Azure Drake alive. Unfortunately, you can't play it immediately with turn, so it's still a little bit questionable. Now, the extra spell power going to allow clearing that APA boss out a little bit easier, but at the same time, it'll be interesting to see exactly how this game develops as Darkshire Councilman comes down.
Soulfire will clear out that Azure Drake, meaning it's quite difficult to deal with this Councilman. Mulch is the obvious answer to it. Can of course Mark of Nature and then, you know, just get a little bit. Oh no, you can't even Mark of Nature anything. You haven't got anything down. So Raven Idol will be another choice. This is the third of the game.
We're seeing a lot of Raven Idols here. Now, ideally you want Moonfire, save them all up, throw them down at the end for massive damage. The other option would be, more, just Wild Growth to continue to get closer and closer to that point.
Getting yourself a Wild Growth, like, because he hasn't had any ramp apart from that Innovate coin that he played to get the Azure Drake out, hasn't had any permanent ramp. Having that down now makes a lot more sense. Now, it's actually really aggressive play here from Yifeng, using his Great Alchemist to get a 6-2 Darkshire Councilman down. And now, if you're Urgot, you need to start worrying about how to deal with these Councilmen. I think Mulch on the 6-2 is probably your best option, and then perhaps trying to save the swipe for a couple of turns' time, or you can just swipe it.
I mean, just swiping it seems like the best option. Instead, nourishing himself.
Right, you can nourish Mulch, so yeah. I think the thing with nourish is sometimes it's easy to get those mana crystals you gain are full.
Right, they are.
If they were empty mana crystals, obviously it's totally different, but having those full mana crystals means you can Mulch, and now into a Doom Guard as well. This is a great position for Yifeng, just continuing to pile on the pain.
And he certainly is. I just don't think Urgot's really ready for this.
There's
I mean, he's going to be able to clear
one short of
one short actually. So, I mean,
but he has got Yogg next turn. I don't think there's. You play Dark Peddler here. See if you can.
Power Overwhelming. Come on.
Get it.
There it is.
Soulfire and Power Overwhelming were both there.
Yeah,
and they will clear it out.
Third place finish here. Jifeng has won himself this match against Urgot. Just narrowly brought it down to the wire. The final 5th game. What big games are in best of 5s.
Well done, man. Good maths. Good maths.
What can I say? Lots of words.
Lots of words indeed. Yifeng taking 3rd place, as you say. Urgot not able to get the heart of the cards in his favour there with the Malagos Druid. But one more turn, he would have been able to play Yogg, but he was still absolutely miles behind in board state and in health. So would have struggled, I think, even if he had that Yogg down on the battlefield.
Yeah, anything could have happened, but now we know what did. And that is, of course, China claiming a 3rd place spot here at the IeSF 8th eSports World Championship 2016 in Jakarta, Indonesia. Of course, the 4th place spot will go to Korea and their player Urgot for his 4th place finish. I said that twice. And that's going to do it for the 3rd, 4th place match. We will have more action coming your way as we continue this World Championship with the League of Legends quarterfinals coming up next.
League of Legends quarterfinals, then the semis later on. All of the finals tomorrow, of course, starting at 11 o'clock UTC +7. But I believe that's it from us for now.
It certainly is.
And in a minute, you'll be back with Spot.
That is very true. If you guys have any questions, comments, or other concerns, you can feel free to let us know about them on Twitter at RapidCasting and at SonarCaster. You want to share those thoughts with us. Like I said, that is going to be all for now, so we are going to head out of here. Thank you so much for watching. Congratulations once again to our players, and we'll see you again soon. Don't go anywhere.